Hello, hello. Good morning to everybody for You Change the World, a live event and a podcast you can find on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on Instagram, on Facebook, on X, Twitter, some more social media channels, and on podcast with Spotify, Apple, Amazon, and some other podcast channels as well. So welcome back. Today we are supposed to have a guest, and she might join me while we are together within the next 25 minutes or so. I apologize for being a few minutes late. I was trying to reach out to her, but she is not. Maybe she has encountering some technical problems. That's the beauty of live shows. So I'm sure that you are compassionate, and in case I'm staying alone with you, I'll enjoy being with you anyway, and we'll go and switch to the topic of what I wanted to, discuss with her. She's the one of the queens in the world of luxury retail, and I would say more customer service and CRM. How she's, for me, my hope, for the present and the future, that we're going to keep going with the customer personalized services. And I'm not the best friend to chatbots, and things of that nature. And I don't think artificial intelligence can replace anyone to assist the customer, especially in some specialties like luxury products or services, but also most importantly, like healthcare, hospitality, and any after sale, service. It's rare now today. I think it would be my way of telling you who is ranking number one. Sorry, among all the services that I use when I'm dealing with a customer service. For example, even I had an issue recently with eBay. They are good with their services, and there is a human being calling you back if you want to. You can get there. It's not so complicated, and you'll get someone human talking to you. The same with Apple, and of course, Apple was always very good with that, and not even with outsourcing to the Philippines or India, where they get some training, but they are still not trained to the details that you need them to be trained. So the service sucks. Okay. So quality of service, personalized service. What is it? What does it entail? What will never be replaced by AI? That's what I wanted to discuss with Jasmine Bapic. Hopefully, she will be joining. If she's not, I'm sure we'll find her in the next few weeks, coming back for whatever the reason is that she could not join today. Okay, now I'm going to switch a topic to something much more, a very different topic, but something that is in my mind all the time. So that's maybe a way to, share a little bit about myself and who you're dealing with when you select me as a coach or as a mediator, or as a facilitator or even a keynote sometimes. One topic that I cherish the most is the word providence. And I'm not taking that word only spiritually, uh, because I know that large number, I don't know if it's a majority, but a large number of people are atheists or do not believe in God. So for them, providence could mean something else. But there is some common denominators that I'm going to talk about, religious, divine providence of those who are believing in it, which who I am. I'm certainly believing that there is a divine providence, but there is providence for everybody, every second of the day. So if you are not a God believer, for those who believe in God, there is no question that God created every single human being. That's my conviction. And no matter what the race, the religion, whatever, every single human being has been created by God. And because of that, because we all are His creatures, um, there is things that God does for everyone, and it's differently because there's different things that we're descending from different other ancestors, and even if we all come from Adam, the first man, or even Abraham, the first prophet, there is biblically, beside the Bible, then all that other religions came after that. from the moment, Moses received the Torah, the Bible. There is many religions that came up, and have their own beliefs. So, with respect to all of that, I'm really embracing all of that. That's why I'm putting this in my little introduction to tell you that it's totally inclusive of everyone. What I'm talking about now is providence inclusive of everyone. And I take this as a theme of my life and as a theme of my today's profession. Because what I see the most in every people's story and people's lives is definitely that they have a protection for those who are blessed with many blessings, and even those who are going through terrible times. I also believe that there is a reason for them to go through those terrible times. We're not going through the reasons because I have no idea what the reason can be, but we at least go to the concept of there is no coincidence. And that sentence, there is no coincidence, is in the mouth of so many people. It has nothing to do with religion. When someone tells you, "Oh, I meet you today. I thought about you this morning." But that's another thing. This person has maybe a power, a superpower called telepathia, right? Telepathy, telepathy, telepathy. I don't know. Sorry, my French is on the way. Telepathy in French, telepathy. I don't know on what I have to accentuate. Telepathy, right? Or telepathy. I think that's how you would say it. So this faculty, this supernatural faculty of seeing or foreseeing something in a dream, or feeling something is coming, and that's really interesting because I have that a lot with myself, or having the intuition, right? Right, just intuition. Being an intuitive person is very, very. It's a huge gift. So let's not confuse and mix up all the different topics I'm bringing in here, and stay with providence. But those are derivatives of providence. If you have the faculty of intuition, if you have the faculty of telepathy, there is no question that you have something that not many people have, and it's a huge, huge advantage. And when you recognize that, you acknowledge that, well, what do you do about it? That's really something that we could discuss another time. This is telepathy and intuition. It comes in your dreams, it comes in your mind, you see a situation instinctively, something is going to come to you to tell you, in fact, the truth. Like they say, you have to trust your gut. If you have guts about something, you see, I take all the expression of my little limited vocabulary to share with you, then you have to really focus on this. But then there is another thing. Let me give you another example of providence. That's another thing. I always said that to my clients sometimes when it comes up in the conversation, to ask them if someone, sometimes if they are somewhere, comes to them, an individual comes to them, even in the street, to tell them something, right? They see the traction, they see the movement of someone getting closer to you and then having something to tell you. You know when something is relevant to you, when something is coming to you as a personalized message from even an unknown person, but that message comes to you. Do you pay attention? Are you paying attention? I'm asking. Now, furthermore, if someone comes to you and you know that person, but tells you something you never thought this person would tell you, whatever that is, some news, something about something that he heard from someone, an information that he had and he thought that you would be interested of knowing, those things. The person comes to you, tells you something, pay attention. I think this is one of the most simple, the simplest, and the most elementary proof that providence exists. If you trust in providence, again, don't be religious to trust in providence. The people sometimes call that luck, good luck, bad luck. Some other people um, calls it an instance, right? Something in the moment, something unpredictable, something that we did not plan that it would happen to us. Do we reflect on this? Do we think about it when it happens? Or do we especially think about it after it happens? This is my invitation to you. It's to connect the dots of things that happen to you and see if you can be grateful about what happened to you. Sometimes we get a check in the mail. from Uncle Sam. There was an excessive tax that you paid last year or another year, 10 years ago, and you get a check. It can be $100, can be $1 from a bank or a credit card that you had, and they owe you this amount, and you get this $1 check. It's tax free. You're not going to declare this $1, are you? But sometimes it's 1,000 or two, or sometimes it's $5,000. You have no idea where it's coming from, why it's coming. So you're going to call it a good luck. You're going to call it a good star. I always have a good star, right? Many stories, many cartoons, many characters we know from our very young youth are having this symbol of good luck or good star. So, yeah, I'm going to be maybe a little mystical when I talk about providence, but it is mystical. And it is maybe something that is just designed for you. If you trust that you have a providence for you, and that you are totally yourself, an individual that can count on providence, has the gut, intuition that it is coming for him, for her, personally. You know, I saw the interview of President Trump this morning, a few minutes. He had his first interview by Sean Hannity yesterday or 2 days ago. I don't know when it was, but it was probably 24 hours ago. And he was telling about his assassination. And he was saying, yes, it's trusting more in God than he used, or he really realized and he really reflected in this fraction of a second when he turned his head away from to watch this, to just look at the big numbers of immigration and everything, and calling it always his favorite statistics, even if he doesn't like the statistics, it's his favorite argumentation for something in his campaign. And he just said, for a fraction of a second, the rifle that this assassin was using is so precise that even the worst shooter would not miss his target. So he recognizes a miracle here. Let's call it by this name. And he's a God believer, so he's making a connection. He goes maybe one step further and say, maybe this is why I'm alive. I had a mission to accomplish. Maybe I'm not a president by coincidence either. Even though he had a large campaign and everything, I don't think he was expecting this kind of landslide and victory. So again, it's a neutral statement. I'm not for one for another. I just tell you what the facts are. He was speaking to this journalist who asks very long questions and do not listen very carefully and interrupts all the time. That's my opinion. I'm really having a problem with this journalist who is in the heart of the president and gives the first interview. Is always the first one because he likes him. But it's not that I like or I dislike. I don't find him professional. Anyway, this is a parenthesis. I sometimes voice my opinion. Here, I think I feel free like I'm doing. I'm doing it very rarely, but I was very, nervous and not nervous, upset to see all these long questions and his opinion. He's a journalist. Ask questions. Interview this person. Don't spend time sharing your opinion or saying I agree, I disagree with you, the president of the United States. I'm just interviewing you. This is beyond me. Anyway, that's what it is. He was speaking about his assassination, and he was recognizing and reconnecting the dot to the extent that he can. We don't know exactly what happens in this world. Nobody does, to the extent that it is. But he understands it, and he understands that he really is a miracle that he is alive, that he could be doing this interview, that he was in front of this journalist and everything. I appreciate that a man, whoever it is, president or not, I appreciate that person can really reflect on it and recognize that there is a providence for him, that his life was saved. It was not his moment to leave this world. It's amazing. And in front of, by the way, because of who he is, it was in front of millions of eyes watching. And it was not free of charge. There was people killed. One person was killed and some other very, very badly injured. So this was not a little story. But he was saved, just with a little, bandage for a few days or for a few weeks on his ear. That was it all that he had to go through. Amazing. Plus, he had also his reactions and everything was in the package. He had the opportunity and he took it to make a demonstration of what courage is and all of that. So that's part of the package. The package of this whole moment in a fraction of a second what happened, and living the moment with an awareness and a present moment, being very present in the moment. He really demonstrated that. No question. He knew what to do. He fought the security people to say, I want to stand up. I want to tell the people, fight or whatever he was saying. That was a historical moment. But it was a historical moment for me, totally different. It was not about him. It was not about it was not about his courage or his awareness in the moment. Even I now, because I tell you, realize that it's all I'm coaching people about. Most of the coaching is about be aware of the moment, do something about your presence. You have a responsibility. If you're a leader, this is your chance to have an impact. So what do you do about it? Do you prepare yourself for this in advance? Do you take responsibility of your presence? 95% of the time, absolutely not. We improvise. We come to the moment. We come to the space. We come in front of the people. And then it happens. Or I prepared my presentation. I'm confident I have the content in my mind. That's not what we're talking about here in coaching. We're talking about only one thing, your presence in the moment. What do you do about it? And you have to leave some room for the providence to play, of course, but you have to do some effort on your end. And I think that in the case of what I'm mentioning as an example with the president, at the time, there was a preparation, and he could then be able to improvise. You see, this is why I come often to this point, but I think it's a muscle to train a lot when you're a leader, is to be able to live in the moment and be completely yourself, but trained and completely prepared for things that can happen where you have to be responsible and take this moment responsibly. And this is what I'm writing a book about right now. And this is why I am talking about it all the time, because I'm obsessed by this idea. I want to work on myself every day about this. If I work on myself, of course, I want to give it away as also to my clients. It's a very powerful tool. And that's what I wanted to, in fact, tell you in the message of this show today. I'm not talking about providence to convince you of something. I'm talking about providence to tell you that it happens to you, it happens to everyone. The providence is maybe call it your star, call it your luck, call it your opposite of luck, call it whatever you want to call it, but reflect upon it. Think about a message that could be behind it. That's the thing. And if you add this little mystical spice, let's call it a spice, a sweet one or a bitter one. But if you reflect on it, what happened? What happened to me? And I think that's what Trump did. What happened to me? What happened to me and what happened to the world for him? We all have definitely a place in the world. So if our life is saved, and mine was saved a few times from disease, from situations, I'll tell you a story. I'll tell you a story in a second, and you'll see that I cannot not be a voice to tell you that there is providence. But I want just to finish this thought, to reflect in the moment and about the moment, and to say to yourself, why? If you can say, if you find an answer to the why, that's great. If you can make assumptions, you can. If you want to just make hypothetical, theories about why this and that, you can always say with a question mark, maybe this, maybe that. But at least you're thinking about it. You don't let it go. That's what I'm asking you. Do not let go of any event, of that person coming to you and saying something to you. To you, that person moved towards you, his body or her body, soul, voice, everything came to you to tell you a message. And that message has a signification that is extremely important, that is designed for you, tailored for you. And in that message, you need to really take it seriously. In the moment, there's something happening to you every moment, and you need to try to be connected to it. You have to be on the same wavelength and leave, of course, to providence every other aspect that you cannot understand or should not even try to guess. So you have to trust your gut, you have to trust your providence. Let me tell you a story. It was in Paris. And it was probably 1988. I think 1988 or 1987. I had a meeting in the 14th arrondissement of Paris, the 14th part of Paris, where there's a big tower called the Montparnasse Tower. And I had a meeting in that tower. It's an office tower, not as tall as the towers in Manhattan, but still tall enough that you can see it from everywhere in Paris. And I had a meeting there. And it was a very important meeting. In fact, I had a dream to produce a show on TV, and I had a meeting with a very important guy in the French television to present him my project. It didn't work out, but just tell you, I had this meeting. For me, I had all the hopes. I was prepared. I wanted to present this project, and I had this meeting. Let's say 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I don't know what time I had this meeting for, but I was ahead of time. And I was so ahead of time that I said, oh, maybe I'm going to walk a little bit and I'm going to go to see a store. There's an electronic store doing audio, video, things like that called the FNAC, F-N-A-C. And it's on Rue de Rennes in Paris. And I was going to that street towards that store about maybe an hour or 45 minutes before my meeting. And I was giving myself maybe 15 or 20 minutes to go and see that store and look, at new products and, just relax. But I had an instinct. I watched my watch and I said, let's not take a chance. Maybe I'll be stopped by the security in the building. Maybe it's in the tallest part of the building just to get there, the access. I don't want to be late. I really don't want to be late. I made a U-turn and I started to walk back. I don't know how many steps I've made, but maybe 10, maybe 15 steps. And boom, I heard a big bang. My body jumped up and then not so high, but enough that probably my 2 feet were going up, lifting and coming back on, falling back. And it was a terrorist attack. Terrorists threw a bomb in a garbage can in front of a large store that is right contiguous to that store I was going to. There is no question. I don't know if there was 12, 15, maybe 20 people died from this terrorist attack. And I don't know how many hundreds were injured and badly injured, probably half of 100. But it was a big thing. If you look in the news back, you Google it, 1988, Rue de Rennes. It was called the attentat of Rue de Rennes. This was the terrorist attack. I was absolutely on my way to be killed. Very simple. So I did not reflect on that right away because I didn't know the news. I said, oh, maybe something, exploded from a gas tank or it was just sometime an electrical instance can have this kind of noise. So I didn't see the smoke because I was really going backwards. But then when I started to hear the sirens and everything, I knew something very bad happened. But I was focused on that meeting of mine. So I was going towards the meeting and I was on time. Listen, isn't that providence? Can I say that my life was saved that day? Can I just write it down in my journal, my gratitude journal? I have one like that. And say thank you. If I believe in God, thank you, God, for saving my life. But it's my providence. I really cannot deny. I was really making that U-turn instinctively and worried that I would be late. So my life was saved. Isn't that a good example? Like the President Trump, same thing. His life was saved by providence. The providence has a reason to exist. But again, I don't ask you to believe in God, to believe in providence. I just ask you to ask the question, like you probably do. Is that a coincidence? There is no coincidence. And again, the most atheist people say that. I don't know what they think when they say there is no coincidence. No idea what they think. But what I can tell you is you can just trust that you have a program with yourself, let's call it this way, that does always buzz and is in the background, like a software or like your computer or your phone, where there is always a background something running, even when the phone is off. The same with you. There is always a providence running in the background of your life, at every step of your life. And it's ready there. It's already there, waiting for you to do this, to do that, and to just be like that. You feel like a happenstance, like a coincidence, but it's not. It's a providence that is designed for you. That's what I think we live with. It's good to be aware of it. It's good to understand that someone moving towards you and having something to tell you, that message is for you. So take it seriously. And whatever you do, really, your interactions of the day, your reactions of the day, all of that, how much does it really take into consideration two factors? One, I'm dependent of my providence. That's all my dependence. That's the real true dependence. We talk a lot about dependencies and independencies here. So you're dependent on your providence. That's number one. Number two, you don't know what it is. You will never know what it is. You just can only see this after the fact or feel it coming. That's intuition. So we'll talk about that another time, or telepathy, as we said. So those are things that are faculties that are sixth senses of ours, but we can use and leverage in our leadership, in our presence, in everything we do to make them meaningful. It's to connect to your life and connect to your events of your life and really see for yourself what it could mean. Reflect upon it. And I encourage everybody and leave you with this takeaway to journal it. I think it's the most beautiful thing to do. I was looking for my journal to show you, but I journal it. I have thousands of pages. I've done that since, in fact, the day I had this thing that I told you, the story of the Rue de Rennes terrorist attack that I was saved from, just because I was walking towards death and my providence stopped me from continuing my path and make a U-turn. Fantastic, isn't it? I'm so grateful to be with you and to be alive. And I'm so grateful for life. And I think we all are when we understand how life is precious and how time is precious. So thank you for sharing your time with me. Thank you for listening and for watching, if you're watching. And see you next week. I don't know if Jasmine will join us next week or another week, but I will try to invite her again to join us like it was the case today. And I apologize on her behalf for whatever the reason. I'm sure it's a good one that she was not able to show up today. Have a wonderful day, a wonderful weekend, and see you next week.